One, two. It's not a long meeting, but
It's gonna be long for you talking about that. Yeah.
we didn't even have it up there.
Yeah.
Oh, we do. So she wants to get solar community. Solar packs. Can you-
Testing.
Testing, one, testing, testing. Okay. We're gonna leave it on.
Yeah. But like I said, if it turns off or whatever. just-
Where is that at?
On the very last page before you go live.
But it says,
Default, it says default, yeah, but microphone.
I put two people. I remembered that, but I didn't remember everything else.
I know, I was like, what's going on,
I didn't remember anything else. You're lucky I remember my name today.
Well, I'm surprised you made it through the day, when I would've went home.
Uh,
My back is hurting a little bit and I almost went home.
well, so I couldn't go.
Hello. You look tired.
When I'm tired?
I said you look tired.
Yeah, I just lost my shows. I'm here, I'm in civilians, that's why, because I don't have time to go home. This is my day off.
Mm.
As of the other week, because, Mika's, yellow ribbon ceremony this morning,
Mm-hmm.
so, and then we're going to sit by the family and stuff, and then we just got back from El Paso, because we have to go see my nephew.
Mm.
And then, it's my brother's birthday
Today?
in 2 days.
Oh,
But I'm
okay.
gonna be working, so we'll stop by and then go out the cake. And then because of my nephew, mom, so it's like we were pinned on the time crunch. I was like, oh, I have to be there.
Yeah.
I'm still stressed like some guys. It's funny. Sorry. Yeah. And I didn't want to be late because the push was on. It's funny because he makes the schedule and he goes all, just like, the dispatch on there, the meeting, like, I don't know. Oh, yeah. That's why your signs.
Huh?
That's why your signs are up now.
I haven't put any up yet.
Oh,
No.
oh, just on social media?
Yeah, it's just Mulva Hill and Garcia are the only ones I have put up so far. Yeah. They'll be made this week, but I haven't put them up yet. It's because I have to go like physically visit people. Hey,
How's it going?
good. Yourself?
Doing good. Chief and Cole are at a meeting. with
Yeah.
the timeline, so
Okay.
I'll be here and I'll do my best to answer.
No worries. I don't think we have anything on the agenda for you guys, so.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
Just answer any questions they have. I'm not bad.
Hi.
You have Connor.
Nice to meet you.
You as well.
You're solar.
You have solar,
Okay.
yes.
Gotcha.
Just wanted to give my card.
Thank you, sir.
So this is the final. No, it's supposed to be. Some type of, or more. I don't know if anybody's really years of that. All right, thanks. Well,
Jerry, how's it going?
all right, how are you?
Good.
I heard your interview.
Yeah. Think it went okay?
Yeah, I mean, I went through that and it's,
Yeah.
I get nervous. So
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it went pretty good
yeah,
for the most part.
as I say, I mean,
Yeah.
some people don't do well in
Interviews, yeah.
because they get nervous.
Yeah.
But,
well,
but it was good.
I'm glad you listened to it.
Yes. I have to make an informed decision.
Definitely. Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks.
Gerard. Oh, Jerry.
Jerry.
Okay, with the solar.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah, I was reading through that and I wasn't sure if this was like a
No, go
pitch for
ahead.
private, but it's more of a like the.
We
kind of
have the
having
plans. I just extended the,
condemning
yeah,
something,
I
was
just
there
extended
something?
our contract.
I have projects going on.
Well, 'cause my
but it
grandma
was
had a stroke,
these- but
so
that's
we
what
kinda
you
got
told
behind.
us.
That's the concept, yes. It is.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
just
I wasn't
trying to get
sure when I
everything
was reading.
situated because now I'm gonna have to. She's doing actually recovered really well.
Public entities.
No, so it's at the bottom of her base.
Yes.
So
Are there, I know the university has,
yeah, so
you know,
the balance we're still working
they're
on. The speech
interested
is
in
coming
it,
back,
seen
but it's
it.
coming back.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So
large
I've just
project
been-
showing everything
Well,
thus
she has
far in the state of
dementia.
New Mexico has been.
So that was
Sure,
already,
had-
yeah. So that's not gonna help, but
And
so I've
really,
been kind of preoccupied
one of the
trying to
things, though, because
get
of
us
our
all adjusted
historic-
to that. So because they're a big
There's a
help for
premise
me
with
with the
that,
little
too.
ones. So now we're trying to
Yep.
because
get
it-
all situated.
It tracks.
You'll
with-
Yeah.
let the, history take away from the.
Awesome.
Well, and hopefully this has more alignment with.
Mhm.
All right. Is this a proposed, I mean, I can ask the questions when you present, but is it a proposal?
Oh, okay. Okay.
That
Awesome.
Will definitely be developed.
So
Mm.
it will be developed. So like.
That's fantastic. No, not at all.
So. We're going around. And so the project is.
Yeah.
roughly
Newborn is rough.
30 acres inside
Yeah.
that building.
More or less, where is,
It's off.
Definitely.
Granada Street.
But I'll come by and talk to you guys
Highway
too because
70.
I have to start going out this week. I was just
We're
waiting
driving by
for
today.
signs and stuff.
Right now, it's.
I'm taking her with me.
sounds like an interesting proposal.
Interview?
To tap into it without having to put the roof mounts.
No financial. Yes. So it is outside.
Yeah.
Did you see if your comments got incorporated?
I don't know, say. Hello, Mr. Gray.
That's funny, you say the same thing.
All right.
So that one.
No.
Yeah.
Should I sound safe?
No, no.
You got it.
Don't tell us yet. How are you?
How are you? Nice to see you.
Lots of love.
Yeah.
I know.
Getting up there. She gave me a tour of Rochester.
Now 3 weeks ago, we got just people around.
Oh, I never really thought.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Hello.
The response, okay, we'll be there tomorrow. Lisa.
Right? That's.
So they ordered it back and forth to the hospital. Makes sense. I was walking around.
Yeah.
And so he was stressed. And so, he was in there for a while.
That'll be on those big, so it'll be on the big screen. Okay, it's perfect. Hopefully it works.
And, so that was helpful. And so it is. Pressure, yeah, went down. Anyway, we're gonna go see him actually. Wash their hands.
But now it's fall. She's healthy.
It's a little slitter.
Congratulations. Thank you for sharing.
That's wrong.
Tomorrow is like the summer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and first name last year. Okay, you know what? She is fantastic. Here.
How are you? Thank you.
And we got $20 for you, for pots.
We don't want pots, because we
We
have
got
plenty
plenty.
of holes, but I want
Can
to
we contribute
donate
to you?
to, I want to donate to the active
Pots.
Yeah, but I don't want them to fit in our cupboard.
I understand.
We're not gonna. I saw you in the bulletin.
Oh, you better get
For 34 years, being involved with empty bowls. Yeah. You and
All right, everybody, thank you for joining us this evening. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. The time is now 6 o'clock in the evening. We are here at the Mesilla Town Hall for our regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting. Our first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is roll call and determination of quorum. Gloria, if you could help out, please.
Mayor Hernandez,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick,
Present.
Trustee Cadena,
Present.
Trustee Johnson Burr. Here. Trustee Nevadas,
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is any changes to the agenda and approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Nevadas. And unless there's objection or discussion, the motion will on the floor will carry. Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Nevadas. The agenda has been approved as it has been presented. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda that doesn't include the BOT meeting minutes for September 22nd, 2025. Purchase requisition for roof care for the community center roof repair in the amount of $5,250.74, and a purchase requisition for advanced communications and electronics for Marshall's vehicle equipping in the amount of $30,242.35.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Cadena. And unless there's objection or discussion, the motion on the floor will carry as it's been motioned. Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Cadena for approval of the consent agenda, which does include the BOT meeting minutes for September 22nd, a purchase requisition for roof care, and a purchase requisition for advanced communications and electronics. Next item on the agenda is public input on the cases that are being heard this evening. And this is where the public is allowed to come to the podium and state your name for the record and give input on the cases that are being heard. If there's any input, if you wouldn't mind.
Sorry. Okay, I think it's okay. Can you hear me? It's very echoey for me. Okay, that's better. Hi, my name is Trina Witter, and I had some comments on the draft comprehensive plan, which I had just looked at very briefly today because I haven't had time before. Under this section on education, healthcare, and other resources, it's on page 75 of what I have. I don't know if that's the same as how your copy printed out, but providers in Mesilla, there are Molinar in Mesilla, and one's on the Avenida de Mercado, the other's on Calle de Alvarez. So I thought that should be corrected. Then another section I had concerns on. It's on my page 92. It's under bikeways and trails. I think it's the third paragraph. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth paragraph, where it talks about the narrow streets in Mesilla, and the way it's worded, it makes it sound like our narrow streets are a bad thing in a way. And our narrow streets are a positive thing. It's a naturally traffic calming thing. Cars do drive slower and people walk in the streets here. People drive to Mesilla to be able to walk here and ride their bikes here. And so I just took issue with and if you're talking about in the historic district, putting in things like parking and trees and distance separation between pedestrians and the cars, I think that makes it could, I just caution you about making it too urbanized in the historic district. You know, that's something maybe on Avenida de Mesilla, or you've got the path already over there, the side path on Cairo Norte. But the narrow streets is a good thing. And it does encourage people to get out and walk and to bike. And I applaud you for putting water conservation plans as a priority. I think that's really important. I was kind of surprised to see, it was on page 104, that there was a due date in October of 2024 for communities to submit an inventory of their water lines, and that wasn't done, to be submitted to the New Mexico Environment Department. And I have some other comments, but I can leave those for another time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Witter. Any other public comment? Seeing as there is no other public comment, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is a presentation by U.S. Solar for our community solar program for the town of Mesilla. Mr. Connor McCarthy is going to be doing a presentation.
Perfect. Well, first off, thank you guys for having me. As noted, I'm Connor McCarthy, and also want to note this is, an open dialogue conversation. So I'm going to be walking through the New Mexico Community Solar Program, specific proposal here, custom to the town of Mesilla based off of your electrical load and usage, and then kind of walk through next steps if the town would like to take that next step forward and commit to sourcing power from my project. Next slide, if you wouldn't mind. So from an overview and agenda perspective, I'll provide some background about my business, U.S. Solar, and our partner, Soluna Solar, who's an in-state developer as well. I'll walk through the framework there and then kind of highlight that proposal as noted. So some context about U.S. Solar. We are Minneapolis, Minnesota based. So headquartered up there, but if you look at the map, you can see we operate in quite a few states. And really these are states that have community solar programs. So this is a newer concept in the last 10 years that's came across really the US here, and New Mexico just launched theirs in 2021, which I'll dive into deeper here. But we have a deep background in this. We serve over 9,000 residents, cities, school districts, all the way to large, Walmart, Cargills to mom and pop shops. So we work with all folks. You can kind of see a background of our pipeline, 2+ gigawatts of projects in development here, 800 acres of, sites that we've done. But again, kind of a little bit of a scale for us. Want to hit the next slide? So Soluna Solar, they are out of Dixon, New Mexico. They've been operating for about 22 years. So they are our partner in this development process. So on the U.S. Solar side, we have the experience doing community solar in multiple markets, helping to drive policy, framework, program concepts, and then long-term management, invoicing, O&M. And Soluna Solar, they bring an in-state experience with their own development. So they've been doing commercial rooftop projects for a variety of folks, some residential, and also, public entities. I've noted a few, City of Albuquerque Public Schools, large folks. So again, we've kind of combined forces to develop these projects together and offer this out to residents and communities. So to dive into the details on the New Mexico program, 2021, the state came out and said, we want to launch this. We want to open this up for residents and businesses, cities to take part. So what this means is, it applies to all three investor-owned utilities, PNM, El Paso Electric, SPS, or Xcel Energy, where sites can be developed and offered out to the community. 2023, the state refined this and issued an RFP. So this RFP was to award developers with sites in development. So candidly, I have been working on projects here since about 2019. looking at leases, finding the right interconnection places, looking at power lines. And so we were awarded 7 sites in that 2023 RFP, which is the largest share of award. And really what this means is now I can build my project with the state approval, with the utilities approval, and offer this out to residents and communities. In regards to some rules and concepts that apply, so from a subscription standpoint, what I'm offering here to the town, really the rules are you need to be inside the same service territory as where the project is located. Because again, this isn't on your roof, this is off-site. There needs to be 10 entities or residents minimum per project. No one entity can consume more than 40% of a project capacity. And that's built to diversify this. So one big monster business doesn't just absorb all the project benefits. And then a big aspect of this is on low income. So 30% of all project capacity is dedicated to low income. And actually that's where we provide our highest discount. We provide a 28% discount for low income residents. Actually have exceeded at US Solar. We've committed 55% of all of our project capacity going to low income. So that is the bulk of our project. And from a commercial perspective, it's a 10% discount, which I'll be diving into here shortly. One quick note at the bottom of the screen and slide there, you can see, the total awarded group of projects. That was 200 megawatts, and you can see the breakdown at the utility level. So here in El Paso Electric, there's 30 megawatts that were awarded in this RFP. And candidly, right now, we're going through a little bit of a unique time with Trump's administration, the big, beautiful bill, how that pulls back, the investment tax credit. So just to note on that here briefly, the investment tax credit provides a 30% benefit to doing these projects, helps lowering costs. And that is being sunsetted away starting 2026. 2027 and 2028, it will no longer be available. So as a whole, this goes for grants, anything to do with solar and renewables, where candidly right now these projects are grandfathered, where we have this 30% ITC. We can build that into our project cost economics, pass that through. Future years, as the state of New Mexico is already starting to talk about program, the 2.0 version, the next round of what this would look like. There's a little bit of uncertainty, candidly, of if we launch this, what does feasibility look like? Does the state of New Mexico want to stand up and offer other benefits? Are we going to go behind federal government? So there's some unknowns kind of as we look ahead, but the 7 projects, the one I'm going to present here tonight is grandfathered, is safe harbored, and is open, here for development. So I've noted the 7 projects, but you can see on the map here, this is location. So those blue pins are where our sites are located. Number 6 specifically, that is the one project we have in El Paso Electric, which is open here. And this is what I'm kind of presenting on here tonight. So our project that is just outside of town, USS Jornada is kind of the naming on the system, but this project is approved. We've paid for interconnection upgrades. This is moving into construction. We're actually starting to work on fencing, and this is a site that will be operational about August of 2026. So about nine months out. So really kind of how it works from a subscription standpoint, I'm going to kind of speak to this on broad terms to say, again, as I noted, I look back at the last 12 months of electrical load. And what I'm doing is I'm determining how many kilowatt hours are needed to help offset your El Paso electric bill. So from an example concept, let's say the total load for the town is $1,000 a month. I know that is not the correct number. We'll kind of dive into the specific next, but to keep things whole, if the electric bill for the city here, the town was $1,000, my goal is to provide $1,000 worth of credits to offset your P or your El Paso electric bill. You would turn around and pay my business $900 for the same energy produced. So there would be $100 savings net for this month in that kind of generalized example I shared. And an important note on this is there is no cost. There is nothing going on your roof. There's no electrical changes to infrastructure here. This is all offsite. So that project that I'm building, candidly, when I put that power into the electric grid, it is getting consumed by everyone with and without even knowing it. It is just mixed right into the grid. When I put that power on, El Paso Electric doesn't pay me for that energy that I'm producing. What happens is they turn around and ask me, who are the entities and residents that have elected to subscribe into this project to commit to sourcing their power? And so I provide them a list of electrical accounts that have signed up. And that is really how the credits are applied to your electric bills. And then that 90% of the value that is applied on your electric account that goes back to me, that is where I'm made whole. So that is really kind of how the three of us collaborate in terms of me producing the power, putting it on El Paso Electric's grid. El Paso Electric is still your provider, but they just dedicate these credits based off of where I tell them to allocate, the solar credit load. Jump to the next one. So now we're diving down to more of the specifics of the town here. So when analyzing this, we looked at 15 total accounts that met eligibility. And so this is a mix of small general service and city and county service meters. And so we're looking at a total of $39,000 for savings over 25 years. That is the project lifetime. If we look at the bar graph on the right, that depicts how the solar is produced. So you can see those summer months, it's its highest production, sun is shining its highest, but it's different each month. And it's important to note. So, if I go back to that $1,000 a month example, if your bill was that same thing, summer months, we might be producing $1,200. Winter months, it could be $700-800. So it fluctuates based off the time of year, but the entire goal is, how do I offset your full electric bill? Or how do I offset as much as possible? You can see a overview below 1, 5, 25 years, just to kind of provide some more, a little bit more breakdown, but jump for me. So getting into a little bit more of the nitty gritty here, what we're looking at is 304,000 kilowatt hours of capacity over the course of the year. That is how much power that I would elect to deliver over the cross all 15 accounts. Each one's going to be a little bit different, but that is the lump total. So as we look at this image, you can see that subscribed capacity, I have it noted as a full 100%. And then that El Paso Electric bill credit, that is the value on a per kilowatt hour basis. So about 6.7 cents per kilowatt hour is the value of the credit that would be applied each month for a kilowatt hour. Couple other important notes, I highlight degradation here. So each year we factor in 0.5% of degradation on our total project as a whole. So if you look at that top line item that runs, years 1 all the way to the total, you can see the capacity is slowly going down each year. And again, that is factoring degradation into a model. So that is accurately represented for you guys. The other important note is this escalator. So we factor a 2.5% escalation on the price of electricity. Last 10 years in New Mexico, it's averaged about 4%, but we've represented 2.5 here to try to keep it conservative. Where I want to, again, hit these numbers, I'd rather under-deliver than over-promise. The last notion that is important is this admin cost rider. So that's an administrative cost rider that goes back to El Paso Electric. That is for the implementation of this program. So if folks don't elect to take part in this, whether it's residents, businesses, they are never going to be impacted by the cost to administer this program. And this is just cost for their employees setting up, kind of an internal process for regulating credits, going back and forth. And so as we kind of look down, if we just focus on year 1 and run down, that vertical there, you can see that's the total capacity. Next line item is the bill credit rate. Following that is what you would pay my business. And that is just 10% off of whatever that bill credit rate is. I can't determine what that bill credit rate is. I have no say in it. what I guarantee over the life of the project is whatever the value of the bill credit rate is, we are always going to be 10% less than that. And that is determined by El Paso Electric. They submit each month an analysis where they believe the next phase of electricity prices are going. That goes all the way to the state. The state reviews their logic, the math essentially that goes into this, and they either grant it and say yes, or you'll have to go back and El Paso Electric will have to adjust their logic for determining that bill credit value. So that fourth line item there, so in the course of 1 year, I'd provide a little over $20,000 worth of credits on the electric bill. You would then turn around and pay my business $18,000. And then you can kind of see the net difference there. That is the difference between the bill credit value versus what you would pay on a per kilowatt hour basis. I also like to include that notion of the admin cost rider. So that is based off of your share in the project. So that is based off of 304,000 kilowatt hours at the rate listed above. So that would be another line item on your electric bill. But at the end of the day, in 1 year's time, you're saving about $950. Important note, street can't go into this program because essentially they are already, I don't want to say subsidized isn't the right word, but they are already prorated at a discounted value. So those aren't eligible to be offset in this program. That's why those have been pulled off. And then some of the larger accounts here, sewage pumping, those rates are actually also at a very low value where these solar credits, we can't apply them towards it. So those ones have been pulled off this list. So again, this is core to 15 different accounts here. And I have I think it's a total of 5 accounts listed there that I didn't include with this figure. Take a second to pause. I've gone through a lot of context, a lot of information. This is more or less the nuts and bolts. I have a lot more context and supporting information here, but maybe you just want to open it up if there's any initial questions out of the gate.
I had a question about subscription. So a resident could, for a resident subscription, would it be a set amount of time or how does those work?
Yep. So residential, there's kind of 2 components. If you categorize underneath low income, which is essentially below your median income for the county area, you would receive a 28% discount compared to a 10%, and the commitment is 2 months. So by signing on, you can sign on, and this is for renters because we know people move, things change. But yes, a resident can apply, and the concepts that I've walked through are exactly the same. If you're not below that threshold, it's a 10% discount off your electric bill if, again, you're not below the median income.
So the time frame would vary. It could be 2 months, it could be 12 months.
So anyone that elects to sign up, our goal is to have them in the project for the full 25 years. That is the perfect world to say in retrospect. From a residential perspective, we need a 2-month notice if you want to elect to move. And essentially that's if you move, if you want to cancel for whatever reason, if you're leaving the service territory, obviously that makes you ineligible. But if you're saying, hey, I'm just moving, a mile down the road still with El Paso Electric, we can just transfer it to that new account. We just have to look at new account data information to make sure it's sized accurately. And also, El Paso Electric knows the specifics where to deliver credits.
All right, thank you.
I kind of noted, again, this community impact is a big attribute for us and for the program. So really what it boils down to, towns, cities, school districts, universities, those are really the anchors in these projects where, again, that's a 10% discount where we're pushing the bulk of the benefits, the bulk of the savings to the low income and residential community. And that's kind of the framework that we have set. But one thing to note, we do a lot of partnerships. So we work with a lot of communities. Again, we've done this in many other states where we do partnerships if that's ever of interest, where we can kind of help implement this in the city, provide donations to goals, to initiatives that the city may have. kind of as in collaboration with this, but that is not something that needs to happen. I'm just kind of including the note. Jump to the next one. So again, I've kind of walked through the overview here. I have additional slides out of this that are more appendix concepts of, links to the state websites that kind of validate the things that I've shared, defining low income, how the bill credit rate is determined, any of those attributes that I'm always happy to dive into, but that is kind of the nuts and bolts of this program and concept.
Great. Trustees, questions? Can you dive in a little bit, Connor? Thank you for this. Can you dive in a little bit in the difference between, you touched on it generally, but again, the primary difference between the community solar program versus individual solar programs that through other companies that install the equipment?
Yep. Yeah. So really kind of the differentiator, community solar is a program that is made for developers to wear the cost of building the system, interconnecting it, handling the maintenance, putting it in an ideal location that fits on the utilities grid. So candidly, it's a lot of impact studies. It's a lot of feeder lines. We dissect all that information so that we can produce a project like this and offer it out to the community. And again, that's at no cost. It's not on your roof. No changes to your electric infrastructure. So when you look at the flip side of that, if you do rooftop solar, which there's a lot here in New Mexico, which is awesome to see, you can save a little bit more, but that also requires a financial commitment up front to do that development. There's a concept of net metering where you produce electricity at your house and you can sell it back to the utility, but those rates do change depending on where you're located in the state. That buyback value or that net crediting concept can vary. It's obviously a larger commitment doing it yourself, and I think I touched on this earlier, but that investment tax credit that is out there, that is here today and leaving in 2026 and kind of down the line. If anyone elects to go solar in the future or put it on your own roof, if you were to do that January of 2026, it'll be a lot more expensive than it is in 2025. So the amount of rooftop from a commercial residential perspective is going to significantly drop over the next few years. Again, things can change from a federal government perspective to adjust this, but current landscape, as we look at the next 3 years, the cost of, if you ever wanted to do rooftop solar is going to climb at least 30%. And again, all those grants and programs that are out there to help support this are being pulled back as well. So that's kind of the two differences with community solar versus, rooftop traditional DG to say.
You also brought up earlier in just a minute, the commitment as it was asked on the resident side. So if the town were to move forward with this, what's the time frame commitment, minimum commitment on the town side?
Yep. So from a commercial perspective, it's 25 years. So that is our big ask of the town. And any towns and entities that we work with from a commercial side is to commit to our project for a full 25 years. We understand that's a long time frame, and there's some areas around that I'll kind of walk through. So let's say those 15 accounts that we've noted, 5 years from now, one of those buildings is moved or relocated or, adjusted at any capacity. We can always move that power. So I think it was 304,000 kilowatt hours. That is really the commitment you're making for 25 years. If you put up a new building, we could always reallocate accounts. If you pull down a building, we would have to reallocate accounts. And so let's go to the flip side of this. Absolute worst case scenario, if you said, hey, year 7, we don't like saving on this program. We want to do something completely different. Again, taking the complete opposite side of this. If you were to elect to cancel at year 7 in this contract, essentially that would be breach of the agreement. What would happen is you would owe your last 3 years of savings. So the last 3 years of savings that I provided on your account, we'd look at that at the time of cancellation to say, I've included here of, I know year one is $950. It's going to be different each year, but if it was, keeping math simple again, if we took that over 3 years, that would be the total amount owed. $2,850 would be the amount owed to breach this contract, to terminate it, altogether. But again, you can pull one off, you can reallocate, and also you can ask us, is there someone else out there that wants to absorb power? We're not sure if we want to move this. So we have, language in our agreement as well that says, if you come to us and ask us for assistance on, we might not need all this power next year. Can you help us out here? We're working with other entities where their power might have increased. Other folks might not have gotten it. We can always tweak and adjust. But the biggest thing for us is notification. We need notification where at the end of the day, if you guys just said, hey, we're done with this program and didn't say anything to me and give me any notice, those credits that I apply to your account, that 90% back is how I get paid. So that's where I would have a big hole in my project. And again, that's where I would need to be made whole.
Thank you. Trustees, any other questions? A lot of information.
Yes.
Kind of a little bit blow your mind concept. So where are you right? I mean, I saw the map you were looking at. Where did you build your facility right now?
So this project is outside of city limits on state
On 70?
on state-owned land. It's off of Jornada Street, and I'm not sure the cross street there. Yeah, and candidly, this program is, again, 2023 was everyone received that was awarded in the RFP, the authorization to take that next step forward. And so right now there's one project, actually it was last week, that energized and is the first official live project. So this is a very new thing. And candidly, as you drive around the state, you're going to start seeing more of these projects popping up. They range from like 30 to 40 acres in size is the typical design. There's a cap of 5 megawatts at the max capacity there. But yeah, it's kind of the framework of it.
Good thing to switch over to solar for sure. Sunlight.
So a big attribute of community solar that is a little bit different is resiliency. So when you do local projects that are here based in your community, if El Paso Electric, they're like all utilities, they have to source power from multiple locations and multiple different avenues and different energy sources. A lot of that is brought in through transmission lines from various places. If at any time a power line goes down, a substation isn't humming, that is where local projects provide resiliency, where that power is produced a few miles outside of town, that goes right on these three-phase circuits, right at the local substation, and is pushed out and absorbed immediately. It is not banked with a battery. It isn't moved to another community. That power that's being produced goes directly to that substation, and anyone that is serviced on that substation is absorbing that power, kind of like I said, with or without even knowing it. Again, where if there was ever a time of blackouts or changes, it creates little pockets of resiliency where these projects are located to have power sourced here versus pulled in from different locations.
There's that location for you. By El Centro and Holman.
So I'd say if you drive past that now, we're starting to lay down materials over the course of November here. But again, this project is set to be operational really August of next year. And candidly, that timeline is driven by El Paso Electric. This site like that takes 3 months to candidly build and design. But we don't want to build it so far in advance where it's going to sit there and do nothing, as we also wait on the power lines to be upgraded that we had paid for. And so it's kind of the process for this development cycle and going ahead. Any other questions? And I know that's, again, it's a lot of information, and, you know, chew on it. You can always spit questions back to me at any time. You know, but I think an important note that I do also want to highlight with this, you know, I'm not here to, you know, say, hey, we got to make a decision today. That isn't what this is. You know, I would love something like that, but, you know, candidly, how this process works, it's a first come, first served basis where I have a finite amount of load that I can provide to commercial entities. Again, that's 45% of this one project capacity at El Paso Electric. Once that is filled, once that is absorbed, I can't offer this this opportunity, you know, here again. And again, who knows where the next 2.0 version will go with the future ITC, but that is, you know, just a notion I just want to share for you guys as.
So we could sign on, but we wouldn't be starting until you're up and running and.
Correct. So it's signed on in advance, reserve your capacity in the project. Once the project is energized, that's when actually you'd receive these benefits. So August of next year is when actually you'd see the bill, you know, solar credit hit your electric bill. The following month is when you'd receive your first invoice from my company. We are always billed 1 month behind because the exact kilowatt hour it's going to hit your bill is going to be a little bit different, and I need to wait to see when it's applied to then, you know, do the logic to put that next statement together.
Any other questions, trustees? Not right now. Great. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
I'm sure there'll be questions that arise, and we'll get with you on those questions.
Sounds good.
And we'll have a little discussion amongst ourselves as well. And then if there's questions that come out of that, then of course, hang out for just a minute. All right.
Awesome. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda for action and consideration, new business, is just discussion for this U.S. Solar Community Program and an agreement. So I did include in the packet the agreement and the disclosures, the full information as it was provided. I bring this to you as a discussion item, trustees, as mainly we're always looking at the potential of where we can save money for the town and have the potential of that. Solar has been one of those items on a discussion of different topics. I did have Oregon Mountain Solar also come out to look at potential spots where we can have physical infrastructure put in on properties. A little bit more challenging because for us to look at some of these different arrays that go in, and with the consumption on our part, it would require hundreds of solar panels that would need to be put up for some of these buildings and places that we use. Not out of the question. It's just a matter of where would we put that infrastructure if we had that potential for capacity. So also, as it's been mentioned, is the cost that comes up with the infrastructure and that it does go, that credit does go away this next year with the big beautiful bill that was passed by federal legislation. So there is also with that a note, because I have been speaking with Oregon Mountain Solar as well, just in generalized conversations in between, just as Mr. McCarthy has mentioned here. And so with that funding being lost with the infrastructure going in, they're getting a lot of applications for properties and on both the commercial and the residential side to try to get the solar vetted for these areas within town sites and within communities before it's fully gone. and at least obligating that potential. So we could move in that direction. There again, we would just have to figure out our side of the funding on that part. So these are just options that are out there, something for us to venture if we wanted to consider it and think about it in this. And that's why I bring this forward to you and to get your thoughts on this. The community solar program was something that was started up by the New Mexico legislature, I believe last year, correct, or year before last?
2021.
Yeah, so it more recently in that. So fairly new still to the programming and how it works, and a lot of questions that all around this. I forgot the name of I don't have it written down, but there is a control commission as well that kind of oversees a little bit of the programming on that. And they've reached out to the director on from that and spoke with them in addition to this. So just to see the qualifications. And I think US Solar is one of 5 or 6 companies in the state that are actually allowed to do the solar community solar programming. There's a bunch of companies that are going around right now that are saying that they're doing this, but they are not vetted through the state as a vetted community solar program partner. So we need to be cautious with even in this, but more cautious in communication with our residents as people go around trying to pitch a program like this, that they are not automatically signing in and buying into those programs, because that's not what these programs. It's only with the vetted companies that the programs will be viable. So we don't want that to happen to our residents by any means. So I just want to throw that out there as well as part of discussion.
I think solar is a great way to go. I just think we have to be. I think US Solar would be a better option solely because we don't want to put solar panels on historic buildings or the buildings that we currently have that are deemed historical. So I think we just have to be careful if we do go a different route where we're putting them and really think that through. But also compiling the list of companies that are vetted, I think is something that we should do and put on our website just so our residents know. And that's all I don't have any questions right now.
That's a good idea. And I mean, obviously solar is a good option for us. And I also think just avoiding having to maintain equipment is good. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like equipment is a thing. Like you have to replace solar panels and all that kind of equipment if we have it in our own. And we have a hard time adding to historical or even rural or agricultural land, right? It's not necessarily something that people would want in the town of Mesilla when we're so interested in having it look a certain way and maintaining the agricultural integrity of it and so forth. But I mean, I think that it's a huge commitment too, because, and I think it's a good one, and we should start committing. But I feel like technology is going to move fast, and that I don't know. I mean, that how do you kind of almost not guarantee, because technology always changes, but how do you kind of invest in a 25-year project? You know what I mean? When technology can move so quickly, but something to think about. I mean, I wouldn't be the person to think about it because I know nothing about this at all, but I'm just thinking ahead is how do you keep, is there a way to modernize, or that there's a process for modernizing if things like if you don't need those big panels, something else happens technology wise. But just a thought, nothing that needs to be obviously answered right now, but how do you stay up with the technology over 25 years in a way, or do you?
Yeah, I would say, you have a great point of like what's going to be available in 10 years from now is, what technology is there, self-driving cars and a full capacity, all that's the kind of conversation we're kind of digging into. And that could be available, and I think that's why, we have clause in the contract of, again, if you wanted to elect and say, hey, we're saving 10% on our electric, costs with these credits today, is there something better in 10 years from now that we can save more than 10% and need to pull our load off of that and put it somewhere else? That is where that cancellation concept comes in of, you pay back the last 3 years of savings, not the credits I provide. Again, I was providing like $20,000 a year in solar credits, not paying that bulk figure back. It's just the savings you collected over that time frame.
But wouldn't you guys have a plan to modernize your equipment as it? That's the other question
Yeah.
I was kind of asking,
Yeah.
like we don't have to maintain all that stuff. That's not our expertise, but if you guys did.
So we remote monitor and have local people in every community that we operate within that can go out and service these projects in real time. So if an inverter goes down, we've had animals chew a wire and knocks out a string of production. All those concepts, we stay on top of it, but candidly, our agreement with El Paso Electric only allows us to produce up to 5 megawatts of capacity. So if there was a more efficient panel out there, or candidly, we'd love to put a battery on this and utilize more power, I can't produce any more power than what my contract is with El Paso. So that's, I'm kind of stuck in that concept of, where it is. Again, these are 25-year terms with the utility across all of the U.S. Colorado was the first state to do community solar, then Minnesota. Those programs are 12, 13 years old, so none of these programs have really hit their 25-year mark. But candidly, our whole initiative is infrastructure's there, equipment's there, let's renew and put something better on, but we also need to have an agreement in place with the utility company to ensure that. So nowhere in the U.S. that we kind of came to that crux, but that is out of the pipe for sure. Yes.
I just have a question. I don't know if it'll make sense, but let's say the town of Mesilla decides to go down this road. How would they arrive at that decision? Is there an analysis of what current costs are versus what the savings would be by going by?
So the numbers that you've seen that have been presented are real numbers.
Uh-huh.
So I shouldn't say real numbers, they're real estimates of the potential savings, because I did send the billing to Connor already. That way he could review it and look at the usage for those, and that's where those came up from the stoplights and as well as the pumps being pulled out of that as that set. And that's the other part that I will note as well. And just thinking about it with the potential of us looking at the installation of solar on our properties, the one property that was available to have solar more than any other property within the town that was recommended by Oregon Mountain Solar was the water wells, and doing a solar array out where the water wells are at, for the water wells in specific, which would not be included in this community solar programming. So that would be something that we could do both and have even more potential savings. The only issue with that is that array was, and it was a rough estimate, and unless we drove down on it, was going to be about 200 total solar panels, more or less. So in that fenced-in area that's down by where our water tanks sit down low already, where they're not visible, the solar panels would not be visible as well from where they are if we did move in that direction. So just as for a little clarification on that one too. But these are real numbers that are being or that have been provided to you, as well as the numbers that are you'll see in one of the other forms in the packet that I think it's in the disclosure on the bottom. Connor broke it all out completely in the appendix. Yeah, so here's all the meters that you see that are in there on that side. So those are the ones and the accounts that we were reviewing and going through all of those guys.
And so we would be looking at a time frame for the town to make a decision.
I mean, that's up to you all. You tell me how you want to, if you want to proceed and look at this and drive down, ask more questions, and we can do a formal review on that. Or if you want to see applications provided by Oregon Mountain as well, we can do that. I'm just looking at venues, or just scrap it completely and not even go down this
Well,
road.
I would like to have the option with this concept here to drive down so we could look at it to make decisions, basically.
Right.
Because right
And-
now it's just discussion, and so would be better to, if we wanted to subscribe, to do it sooner than later. So
And all of that information is in your packet.
All right.
So you have all of that, including the agreement. I did include that as well, so that you could review it. And then I did send the agreement to our attorneys to also review to see if there was anything on that side with potential questions that they may have. So it's potential, in other words. It's just, you all tell me how you would like to, if you'd like to continue this conversation as a whole, or if you have major concerns that we need to address, or if we just want to look at going a different route for potential savings.
I'm in support of pursuing this.
and so am I.
Any other discussion or questions? Would you all like to see the other proposal potential from Oregon Mountain as well for water well and having physical infrastructure put in?
Like to see all the options that we have.
I mean,
Great.
there's nothing saying we can't have both.
Correct.
I mean, it's just savings for us. I mean, I'm sure that Oregon Mountain, with physical stuff, it would be an initial investment of.
Right.
So it looked different. But yeah, this sounds really, I mean, like a thing.
Any other discussion or questions on the community solar program? And as there are none, we'll move forward. Next on the agenda is approval for our Site Southwest 2025 Town of Mesilla Comprehensive Plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Cadena. Miss Alley. Oh, did you? Perfect. Okay. Let's see if I can get this.
All right.
Mayor, trustees, good evening. My name's Allie Caskey. I'm a community planner with Site Southwest. We're a planning and landscape architecture firm based in Albuquerque, but we've had the pleasure of working in Mesilla for the last year to update the comprehensive plan for your consideration. I have a little presentation that summarizes the year-long effort that we've undergone at this point, and I will be able to stand for any other questions at the time. All right. Great. Next slide. Thank you. As I mentioned, I certainly could not have done this alone. I want to give a shout out to my team, Danny Wilson and Karina Rogers. With their expertise, we were able to really dial the future land use map as well as some of the historic preservation recommendations. We also partnered with an engineering firm on this, and so that's where the water and infrastructure guidance comes from. And so we have put together a really comprehensive, thoughtful plan with the help of our team. Next slide. Just an overview, I mentioned we're looking at just about a year for this effort. We started back in the winter with a community meeting at the end of December. We also had a tour where we were able to kind of see the town for ourselves and get a sense of what it is we were working with, being able to chat with people at coffee shops and set up different pop-up events. At this point, we just started the initial visioning. What is the vision for the town? We started that conversation, or rather we continued that conversation in the spring, getting into the strategy of how do we want to carry out that vision. We held open a community survey as well as our workshop where we were able to kind of tackle more in depth some of the specific plan elements with community members who had helped us get to that point in the plan elements. And then finally, we've been refining this plan with the help of you all, with staff, and just, again, fine tuning, pulling together the plan that's in front of you today. Next slide. Just a quick overview of all of the time and effort that has gone into this project. I want to commend not only you all, but the community members as well. You all sure know how to show out. We heard overwhelmingly the love and care and sense of responsibility that folks feel for Mesilla, and that it really shows in the plan recommendations where we're able to pull out kind of these main visions that get at what we're all in agreement of for Mesilla in the future. I mentioned we had 2 meetings with around 100 folks attending. We've tabled at different events, at, again, coffee shops, just different public spaces for over 8 hours. We were able to talk to hundreds of folks in that way. We've made several presentations and we've had working groups at this point with you all in planning and zoning. Most recently, we were able to really refine the future land use map that's included in the final plan in this last land use work session that we did. And at the end of our survey, we had 125 responses. And that actually should say 165, actually. So again, these are sort of the 8 guiding goals, which you will see reflected throughout the plan in its different elements. Again, this just sets sort of a guiding vision for decision-making, investments. It clearly articulates what that vision is from the folks that we've heard from. So this is the community vision for what we hope to see in the future, and this plan is meant to guide the actions toward carrying out this vision. Next slide. I've touched on this a lot, but it's comprehensive. It's a high-level plan that looks at all of the parts that make up a community. And so you will see a variety of topics covered and discussed more in depth in their elements. We also want to acknowledge that housing is an economic development issue, and so is infrastructure. And a lot of these elements, intermingle. They're related. They certainly aren't, siloed. And so just wanting to also provide a plan that nicely ties all of those elements together and looks at how those interact and how we can have a greater impact with the implementation of this plan. Next slide. Oh, nope. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. And so with that, I just want to say thank you again for all of the time and knowledge and information that you all have shared with us throughout this process. This has certainly been a team effort, and I also want to acknowledge that following our last working session, that we were able to make the edits, like the medical care kind of minor edits. We also talked about distances, some factoids. So we were able to implement all of those changes that we discussed at that meeting, and as well as finish out the implementation matrix, which is included fully in the final plan. So at this point, I am seeking approval, or rather adoption, of the comprehensive plan, but I'm happy to stand for any questions at this time.
Comment, Mayor, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I didn't catch this earlier. Just some concerns that I caught on it's page 219 of our packet. but it's page 4 of the matrix.
And so that's been fully updated. And so yeah.
Okay, well, and let me just read these off real quick, but I was kind of.
Oh, sure.
On 1.2 point G, acquire land and encourage development according to the updated future land use map. You have that as part of the town of Mesilla overseeing. I think because you're mentioning acquired land and encouraging development according to the land use, I think that the BOT should also be on that.
Sure.
Then on page 7 of the matrix, 1.3A, it says to prioritize infill development and underutilized areas, like the cotton gin redevelopment and all of that. You have the town of Mesilla and you have planning and zoning, but I think that's something that's also going to have to be approved through BOT.
Right.
And then right underneath that, 1.3 point B, expand the general commercial zone to Union, expand historic commercial where it already exists, etc. Again, you've got town of Mesilla planning and zoning, the board.
Sure.
And then the same is true for the following page, letters 1.3C, 1.3D. Because again, you're talking about land acquisition, and letter B talks about vacant property ordinances. Well, both of those board of trustees need to be involved.
Sure.
And then last, on page 13 of the matrix, 4.1C, explore town acquisition, and 4.2A, open future opportunities for appropriate commercial growth. Talking about the transportation, the truck bypass route. You have the town of Mesilla, but I think the board of trustees, because they will have to approve. This.
Right.
So that's all I would imagine.
No, I can include that to explicitly, call out the board's involvement in those projects.
Well, I think just for clarification, Trustee and Ali, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we look at the first page of the implementation matrix, when we look at that very first page, page 1, where it says who, it's specifically what you're naming is specifically the key project leads. And so the people that would be taking the lead on these projects, not necessarily who has the oversight of the approval, but more so the lead. So the town takes the lead on some of these. The BOT and the planning and zoning would take the lead on some of these. The staff would take the lead on some of these. So when we look at that, it's who's going to be responsible ultimately for being the lead and leading the project, not necessarily who's approving the project. I think that I'll make it clear that, I think we all know that the BOT has the final decision on the majority of anything that gets implemented, especially with land use, as well as acquisition of property, or anything to that extent. So just for clarification purposes. And I don't know if that's correct, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way I interpreted that information as well. Sorry. But I think that because this is a suggested matrix as well, right?
Yes.
On this and as how it is, but I think that this is also the point where trustees, where we can in the future, after this is adopted, that we have a solid work session where we drive down on which ones you want to have implemented in a time frame to have them implemented. That way it gives direction to everybody all the way around from town staff to the BOT to PNZ, whoever those project leads are on that to really drive down on that the project and get it implemented.
Great.
Well, I noticed the changes from the last time,
Good.
so I appreciate that very much, and I think it's really helpful. I didn't drive down on it either, and I think both are good, but I really appreciate you putting that together, because I think it just gives you a better visual of what is in store for us.
Yes,
right?
yeah, it gives you all a.
And I think that you did what I asked, is to kind of define it as what it was actually going to, how we could use it to govern. And so that the P&Z and residents can just see it too, and that we're all kind of, trying to meet those goals or going towards the same direction and so forth. Because I think you did capture that in this plan. So I appreciate that very much. I think just the details, and it very specifically says that if we don't follow this plan, or if something in this plan doesn't work, that we change the plan. Right? That we are not restricted to the plan, but it is a good guidance, and it's a what do you call that? A consensus of everybody's input, which I think is what we're here to do, is value that, because that's who we represent. So I like the way, I think it's very good. And I appreciate you guys putting it together and all the work you've done and all the change, the small changes you made that made a big difference. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I will note that, if it is adopted and approved, that, as I mentioned, I think it'd be great if we do a work session to fully finalize the implementation matrix, but also one of our biggest things that to fully finalize and to really have something that's solid on our part and continue is our land use map, where it's not clear right now, and we at least would have the opportunity to drive down on that land use map for what it is, and make sure that this is the one that we're using for the potential of moving forward in the town, especially because it has all of the suggested areas and that are hashed, and that's not those set in stone. It's however the board moving forward with the implementation of what we're doing here today has that potential of looking at those viable options in that. Any other discussion or questions? No?
It's great.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Cadena. And if there's no further discussion, Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson Burr?
Yes.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Thank you and congratulations on approval of our 2025 Town of Mesilla Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is public input, where the public is invited to address the board for any other concerns or matters. If you have any input, please step to the podium and state your name for the record, if you would, please.
Yes, Eric Walkinshaw, 2134 Calle de Principal. And I sent, one of my questions is to the presenter on the solar, if that's all right. I mean, we can all hear it. One issue we're having, and it's in the general management plan, is we've got about 22, in the 2017 plan, we noted we got 22,000 acres of RF, which is farmland. But I learned just the other day, well, just driving around, you can see a lot of the farmland's not being farmed, probably for water reasons. And so we had a public hearing in the P&Z last week, and a person brought up, forgot her name, but she got up and she said, the the state is giving farmers money to not farm because of the shortage of water. So I guess my question to you is proximity. What's the possibility, or what would it take if a farmer wants to sell your land for solar panels? And the proximity would be nice because it's close. The transmission lines wouldn't have to go so far. And I know you're restricting now to what, 500 megawatts. Yeah. So we should talk about that. But anyway, so what's the process? Is that even a possibility if the town accepted it?
Just to make sure I'm understanding.
Okay.
So all different agricultural land that is or is not being used, you're saying what's the possibility of leasing more land for solar?
So you do lease, you don't buy the land from a farmer that wants to lease it or sell it.
It is situationally based.
Okay.
We leave the lease, like the one we're doing, this Coronado site, is leased through the state. So it's state-owned property that we have a lease
right.
full term of. But at independent farmers, the other, I think 5 to 7 sites we're doing are with independent landowners where we negotiate a lease agreement. At times they, in other markets we've seen, they want to sell us that or saying, hey, take this all off my hand. So it's really just up to the landowner there. Desires, but.
And when you lease it, obviously you give them a certain amount of money per year or however it's.
We do a price per acre. And it's really in relation to a lot of the factors of how close are your 3-phase power to the substation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I just read about, I looked up online about the state selling or offering money to farmers not to farm. And there was a farm up at, I think it was like 400 acres up in Socorro. And they're paying them $400 and something an acre. It's a fair amount of money.
Yeah. No,
I was just curious what the possibility is. So.
Yeah, I mean, the rates that we offer, from a lease perspective are driven by the bill credit rate, so what, candidly we can turn, I know the bill credit rate here in New Mexico compared to some other states is, I would say, smaller.
Okay, right, that makes sense.
Minnesota, where we pay 5x the rate.
Okay.
Good. It's kind of just based on electricity costs.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you guys. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Walkinshaw. Any other public input? All right, seeing as there is none, we'll move on to our next action item. Close executive session for discussion concerning attorney-client-based privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the public body is or may become a participant pursuant to NMSA 1978, Section 1015-1H7 concerning the Marshal's Department, and also for discussion concerning limited personnel matters pursuant to NMSA 1978, Section 1015-1H2 for the Marshal's Department.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Nevada, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick. And unless there's objection or discussion, the motion on the floor will carry, and we will be entering into executive closed session. The time is now 7:13, and we are going into closed session.
You probably said it. Square footage. They do more efficient. Yeah, exactly. So we have
Thank you.
So we don't have enough to service all houses. Well, we've got students. Okay. Once they can see it. When we started, we only offset about 2/3. That one we had just around. We had a little bit down to 1/3. But what I'm wondering about is one option is there's something we're still paying. You're still paying out.
Exactly. So I was wondering about, I've heard other areas where an actual community member, they can go ahead and buy station. Well, other locations, usually Grand.
Yep.
That's still the case here. In other words,
Yeah,
they
because
want
he was
to
loose and he was in the parking lot eating just something that just
Brighton.
would have been.
More powerful by house.
Yeah.
Using ground mounted
It's a
panels out.
So that's over the
fence.
rooftop, that's that metering. So that metering, that is where you own the system. You offset as much as can, hopefully you can sell some of that, with your case, you're not running some of that. Your bills, your electric bill is fine. So you can always go source things to your point, panels for things. In terms of
It's down a road.
buying into,
Yeah. Is it the guys that
I haven't developed.
Yes.
Where,
So I
you know,
called.
if you wanted to tie it to a project or didn't do that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, as from my understanding, power needs to be consumed where it is being used.
Plus we would have to get approval.
Yes. So that's that kind of stuff. If you let's say something like 2/3 of your electric bill isn't covered, you can actually take that 2/3 and source from our project and offset election, the remaining there. So you can kind of be told, mix it up, say, obviously,
She went right away.
if you own the system, you save a little bit more, higher bank.
Back.
And everything else. And so you can straddle both of them, do that other upgrades, like I can't upgrade mine, because I have no benefit to upgrading because I'm still capped on power. What I'm producing is, I already, very enough, where it doesn't.
As an example, we used to live up in the Northwest, in a ski area there, they had signs up saying, all our cars can move from solar. I'm not from there. They're buying solar. Who knows where?
So that's a right concept. Okay. So it's,
Now.
this is what I think is
Yeah.
the worst part of the equity part.
He was in the start.
What renewable energy credits are the environmental attributes to make a statement.
Oh, yeah, right.
Candidly,
I guess I haven't been.
It's like companies want to sell their coal,
Yeah. Well, usually.
CO2.
So I work with Target. I work
Okay.
with all these folks.
Yes.
And then what I'm doing,
We.
they're more decided to claim the environmental attribute and say, oh, okay, so I'm not saying that from a marketing perspective.
It's just like it's here.
Exactly. So, there's social power in some south. So that means they bought the rights to those grants. If they're doing it,
So.
I assume through the
Deputy about that.
that's how they're creating a state. We are, meaning, hey, how much does, here's our total load, we buy this many
At
credits.
least they have.
They're burning their trash.
So let's go back to this farming situation. We're real concerned about our water. Of course,
Well, every residence is supposed to have a trash can. And a recyclable water.
we put it in the big AH.
Well, they're probably burning their trash, but they also.
Anyway,
Maybe we can.
the state has approved it. And it's gonna use a lot of it.
outside.
And instead of doing solar power, wind power, which this is a great state to have it.
Oh, yeah.
And they're already up, so it's pretty proof. And they're saying they're just gonna be a little more gas fired.
Yeah, it's usually.
That's what a lot of people don't wanna see.
No, I mean, my take we need all forms of power.
Oh, yeah.
For all
Yeah.
different actions and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. People want to drive a gas car.
Yeah.
People want to drive a diesel. It's the same thing.
Exactly, I mean, and the biggest attribute that I think is most important, and this is, I don't care what political spectrum you fall out, is what is the most cost effective solution? Let's just take that.
Needs to be more of a balance. Whatever it is.
And so, you know, since 2020, solar is the cheapest form of energy across all concepts. Oh, yeah.
No.
Texas.
Yes.
Well,
that's a case in point.
So there's Texas, it's, I mean, it's one, but every red state has the most amount of solar implementation versus blue states. Because well, there's more. There's more. Unfortunately, yeah, you know, and you know, like, again, it doesn't, but there's, what's hard is existing communities, like a coal power facility takes 25 years, 25 to 30 years, depending on the style and the design. It needs to run 24/7, 7 days a week for the first product. To turn positive.
You know, these down there, they're talking about fracking.
Yeah, so, well, and I can't cool. So New Mexico is very cheap gas to frack. And so in this circumstance, it might be more expensive. And so I don't know those figures, but you know, when I say I'm talking about but having first, you know, what that looks like, contract.
Trans Mountain.
No, it's.
So, that's a good question. What I was asking about, because we're having a problem.
They've opened Florida.
I'm on the land. Sure.
Yeah, they've taken concrete barriers.
And,
So when
and
my
it's in the comprehensive plan.
sister-in-law.
Some people consider conflict. Just like anything. In the plan, this whole area was developed.
I would never go.
Exactly, because of those barriers. There's been several.
I'm saying.
Yeah, but security barriers.
That's
And they're so.
Exactly, you're there with
only the
everybody
big
else.
The code for
barriers.
RF, which is real fun. It's a minimum. of
Was it in the? The obituary was in.
That's a backyard farm.
Exactly. And if you have a framework, which we don't, and you have to drill real far down, it's groundwater. So I'm saying.
Exactly, for my beer, I mean, I've been waiting till 100.
Where's that?
Well, I don't know Wisconsin. But we're doing, I mean, ours is that we have drain tile, we're trying to get the water out of here.
We want to get it in there. So anyway, so my issue is from a home perspective. And we also have a shortage of losing population.
There it is.
2,000, 600. And a lot of that is, there's not much in where you would have a house. Historic residential or R1 residential, there's just not evidence. Exactly, it's the same thing. It's just not much housing available. And housing is available in HR, which is what it is, it's only a third of an acre. It's not really valued. It's 125,000. Families. A lot of us are. We want to encourage younger families to go. They can afford it, so they can buy houses and more available. And so and we have in our plan in rural areas, we can allow cluster of houses. Only a certain percentage, so we don't lose much.
minimal higher, bad,
Which-
sort of things. Yeah. I mean,
That's why I was asking the question. Is there a
pricing
possibility
just-
the farmer says, I don't care about getting a little money from the state. I don't business.
they don't think of it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's-
There's no money in it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, man.
Right, so, and then I mean, maybe this was me just saying, but I personally think anything less than 1,000 acres is a hobby farm. And
So it's from where you're from.
In terms of, yeah, but it, like, you know, when you look at combines, electric equipment, seeding, doing all those things, like, you need all acreage, and that's where it can unfortunately the commercialization of it. That's what gobbles it up, because they can do the cheap rate. And, you know, it's, I don't want to say a hobby, but like, now it's not a profit being turned, it's more a passion and a phase of life, and it's allows you to more value in your life. You know,
Exactly.
that's
what we're talking about. We've got a project. Wants to- right next to our one. Anyway, we kind of solved that question.
I don't know, I think
So you, on the edge of that, one has. Wants to rezone that, so that he wants to rezone it to R1. That's 2 steps down. It's a residence.
Would that be beneficial, or that?
Well, yeah, it would be,
But that
and that's,
valuable, okay.
well, I wonder, I would think, out away from the historic district, closeness for. Because we have a pretty substantial. We never would Real good. Anyway, so, I would think if there's one rezone, in this case, it'd be 5 acre. Like I said, we got 22. 17. And so some of the. She just, always say, it's kind of like, how can we best align ourselves? It's supposed to live out for about 20 years. Let's start dealing with the loss of leased lands as they're not farming. Or they're building big mega homes.
Yeah, I see those ones on the ground, I'm like, Jesus, where did this come from? Out of left field.
Yeah, it's problematic. That's why, is it, I mean, am I just kind of blowing in the wind? Is it even possible for a farmer to do some option? Someone, or not, or at least on this.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Yeah, it doesn't sound.
Because I can only do a project if I have state approval for the RFP and also the utility approval. And to speak bluntly here, SPS, the way we do this in the United States. A strong community solar, because the state is telling you we have to accept product, so versus, they would rather.
Because it's a good.
They would rather do these projects, but they would look at me and say, you bring me 100 megawatts, not 5 megawatts. I want to do this in scale of economy, and I'll pay you this much of a rate, and which is fine, but like, then we can't open it, because right now, if I do this in the community, you know, they're having to they're having to give you members a choice out of their direct expense. So it's a little bit of back and forth. But.
Well, they probably.
Good job, good work.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Good luck. Good, Eric Watkins.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So you in town for a while or?
Tonight,
Yeah, I think.
I come down here twice a month for a weekish. Speak a lot
Yeah,
more
I
about
hit
it.
that one.
Yeah, so
No,
I
it's.
was like,
it's
I mean, not here, here,
from the
just-
airport onto.
Yeah.
There's two freeways.
I have a wedding on
601
Thursday night, so I
And
gotta,
then.
I'm gonna be scooting back, working my way in, stop back at Lawrenceburg night, tomorrow, but.
Noise,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Point me in the right direction, best dinner spot, you say in town? Yeah.
Well,
Is the devil eating?
double.
Yeah, it's open.
Oh,
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
open.
Devil eating. Double eating.
Yeah, it's a very fancy restaurant though.
Are you inviting him to go for a beer?
Well, I was going to, but he's got to go out at dinner.
Yeah, so the Double Eagle is the most upscale restaurant.
Right in
What do you
Bluff.
want? What kind of food?
I mean, I'm a food junkie where I love all tastes of food. I'm more just, what is the, I mean, I don't want to say best, but just like, what is like, always can go there and guarantee it's gonna be good. It doesn't matter, like,
Green chili cheeseburger.
I want to know, I mean, you could go to Chalice. Chalice is where we go.
But you know
That's-
what, I don't know.
Chalice is open on Tuesday
is
night.
not.
We don't get rid of I'm gonna look. Chalice is a farm to table locally owned.
Chala wood fire grill,
Yeah,
closed, but,
darn it.
And
Yeah,
Paisanos is
Tuesday, a lot
closed.
of them are.
And then there's the winery, like, all the way open. Yeah, it's open. That's,
Guaranteed.
Luna Rosa is closed.
yeah, no, Rosa's.
Tide July, they're closed on Tuesday.
It's on the main Street.
And on your way to
Lacombe.
10, Lake Home, it's a winery. Yeah, but it'll be a little upscale too, but they've got a bar, it's a good restaurant, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
but the Double Eagle is fine too, they've also got a bar and
Oh, and
covers
it's got a lot of,
character. It's a go, it's home to.
Oh, it's home.
Is Peppers open too?
Yeah, it's if Double Eagle's open, Peppers open. So we
Right
can
in
eat there. Yeah, those are two good ideas.
okay, can't go over.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Come on. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, that hair.
That's all right.
Gentry is.
All right, the time is now 7:32 in the evening. We are returning from executive closed session where only those items listed were discussed with discussion concerning attorney-client privilege information pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the public body may or may become a participant to, as well as discussion concerning limited personnel matters, both pursuant to NMSA 1978, Section 1015-1, H2 and H7. And if we can have a motion to go into our regular scheduled meeting.
So moved.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Cadena. And if there is no discussion or objection, we will enter back into our regularly scheduled. The time is now 7:33, and we are back into our regularly scheduled meeting. Item number 10, actions that may arise as a result of executive closed session. And we do have action on here, and that is for the request to for hire for Miss Katrina Ornales to be joining our Marshals Department. That would be with a contingent offer on a background check as well as a psych eval being fully revetted and approved on that.
So moved.
Second?
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Cadena. Is there any discussion, trustees? Seeing as there is none, Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Tina Marks,
Yes.
President Burek. Yes. Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Great. Thank you very much for the rehire of Miss Ornales joining the team. So it'll be a great thing. Next item on the agenda is Board of Trustee Committee and Liaison reports and updates. Trustee Nevares?
Yes, since the last meeting, I did meet with economic and community developments just to go over, various topics. So we had a good discussion on that. I also attended the last board meeting of the Friends of the Taylor site. And they're actually doing a lot of planning for the opening of the site on November 8th. So they're very busy. They had a very lively discussion on different topics. But then I also attended the Imagining America conference at NMSU, which is a very unique conference, but I'm glad I did sign up for it. And one of the activities they had was a site visit to Mesilla, so that we had representatives from various universities across the country. And it was done by the Alexandra from the Taylor site, and it was very good. It gave me an opportunity to actually go through one of the tours they presented, and they're very, very informative. And the last hour of the visit was spent at the Fountain Theater, in which a presentation from Film Las Cruces and also the Creative Media Institute at NMSU. And again, the attendees of this were very impressed by the partnerships that have been developed relating to the film industry in this area. So I think overall it was a good, kind of a good also introduction to Mesilla for those individuals that came down here. So.
Great. Thank you. Trustee Johnson-Beer.
No reports. Our MPO meeting for October was canceled due to a lack of quorum, so our next one will be Wednesday, November 12th at 1 p.m. at this City Hall, Council Chambers. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Cadena.
I also attended the October Friends of the Mesilla Taylor Historic Site, and always very informative, always a lot of different, they just have so much going on, and I think they're working very cooperatively and very generous towards the historic site itself. And of course, looking forward to the grand opening and the entire site. I also went on I stopped by on a Thursday and went on one of the tours from the guide there, and that was very good. Learned things I didn't know about the buildings and everything. Super great. I also participated in the cleanup, and I feel like we look around and it looks clean, but when you get out there and pick up trash, it's a lot of trash out there. So it was good that we all did that. It was sponsored, through the historic site, and they coordinated it, I guess, and the town of Mesilla joined in, and I thought it was very productive, and we picked up a lot of trash in Mesilla. So I think that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cadena. Mayor Pro Tem.
Our MPO meeting was canceled, so I have nothing on that. And then I did the walk to school day with my little one. That was a lot of fun. You get to see the Las Cruces High students walk the little kids, and then you get reminded that time's going too fast. So it's the only bad part. But it was a good turnout. We saw a lot of kids. It was a lot of fun. It was a good walk.
That's great.
And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. On the back to school, or not back to school, but the walk to school, and speaking with because I have notes on that too, and speaking with the principal on that, as well as Ashley Curry, who's in charge of that, 268 total students, parents, and young adults that were walking that were counted, which is amazing for our little community, especially when we hear, and I think I brought this up last year, when we hear about, oh my gosh, what is it? The big school that's up on the hill by the Animal Service Center. There's I can't remember. Highland Elementary. Yeah, so it's Highland Elementary. has, it's either 600 or 800 elementary students. We have a little over 200 at Missy Elementary. But their walk to school, granted, it's a little bit different in the area that they're in, but their walk to school, they normally get 5, maybe 25 parents, teachers, and students. So for our community to truly come out and 268 strong is absolutely great and amazing. Something fun to see. So good in sharing that. With the trash pickup, we did have 2 truckfuls of trash, 2 bed pickup loads there. It's crazy to think. And the fun part of that is that there's it was a statewide initiative that was being done that was called #BreakingBadHabits.
Yeah.
So it was, so it's kind of going after the Breaking Bad TV show that was filmed in the northern part of the state. So good stuff there on that. We did have a lodgers tax as well as arts and culture meetings today. Very, very good information. Thank you for those of you that were a part of that. And we will be continuing that and moving through. I did also help or did get the chance to do an actual walk through the historic sites with the advisory committee and members of the family that were also there, which was a very neat experience, so it's going to be a great addition to our community, and gives you chills when you walk through there. Not necessarily exactly the way that it was, but it's pretty darn close. So and you get all the good feels, or at least I did. Mary Helen, and I think everybody felt good. So and some neat kind of fun interactive things that are coming in there that will help with promotions and generalization that you'll see in the future, and some good things that we can cross collaborate with across the board on that. MPO's already been mentioned that was canceled, and I can probably talk about any other boards and things that I sit on, because I sit on quite a few, but I'll save some for the staff comments. Next item on the agenda is staff and trustee comments in general. So we'll start with the Marshal's Department. An update.
Hi, Sergeant Lourdes Hernandez on behalf of Marshal Benescarate. The Marshal is out this week attending a public safety conference and will return next week. As far as staffing, we recently lost 2 deputies, one due to retirement, another who accepted a position with the Doña Ana County Sheriff's Office. We currently have 5 applicants scheduled for interviews next week as we work to fill those vacancies. Fleet updates, our new patrol unit has been picked up and we're waiting on parts to arrive at Alamo so the uplifting process can begin. And we also have the DA drug take back coming up October 25th, around noon. That way it's when you all can bring any kind of medication, things like that. And we will be out front here at Town Hall. And that'll be October 25th, Saturday, around noon. And that's just for the community update. But that concludes our update from the Missio Marshal's Department. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
The October 25th event, what are the times for that?
It will be from noon and usually about till 1 or 2 p.m. If we don't get many people, we finish off early.
Okay.
Mhm.
In case somebody asks me.
But we'll post. They'll usually post posters here at Town Hall, and then we'll have one at the station as well.
I was asking for a friend.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You gonna give an update on fire and EMS? The chief is at another meeting as well.
There's no updates from Fire, EMS. Chief Whited and Captain Morris are both out at a meeting with the county fire right now. But if you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them for you. All right. Thank you so much.
Lorenzo is also out, so but some updates on projects. You'll see that the main one that we're working on is the University Avenue or NM 101. It has now taken a different direction. It is now going from west to east in traffic, and they're hoping to have that open within a couple of months to traffic all the way down. So hopefully we'll have that road back. There has been some concerns with community members that are still coming in regarding that live along that area regarding the height, the drainage potential, the things that we've already kind of brought up before. So I am going to be working with Lorenzo as well as New Mexico Department of Transportation and EBID to do another joint community meeting, hopefully by the end of this month to the beginning of next month, so that we can all have better communication as well as addressing community concerns with this project in particular. And that way we're all on the same page and we're all focusing on addressing every concern that is brought forward. And then, let's see, we do a kickoff, or we have a kickoff on our meeting for our Calle del Norte bridge replacement. So that project is slated to kick off in November. We'll have more information this coming Friday on the exact date that the contractor is going to be looking at. That will be a period of a couple of months that Calle del Norte, right there at the lateral, will be closed. So you will have to find an alternate route on that. We'll make sure to put the postings out for all that information. That is to extend that lateral to make it larger, so that pathway that comes down on the north side can continue across the lateral as it was planned previously. The signage on the Parque de Cura, I've received confirmation this afternoon that will actually be going on that wall at the park on Friday. So that's a great thing on that side. So the mural is still going to be something that we work on and plan on. That'll be a vetted process that'll go through our Public Arts Committee and then come to the Board of Trustees for final approval once we get that underway. And I think that's all of our current projects, other than the team's been working on continually cleaning and upkeeping with the recent rains, because weeds do get to be a little bit out of control on that. So they've been working hard on that part. Community and Economic Development, Eddie and Liana are at a conference this week as well for historic preservation. And he had his updates in the packet, so you have those already. And then finance.
Auditors were here last week on site doing field work, so we're just waiting to hear. They'll probably request some more items, but they went through everything, so we'll just cross our fingers.
Nothing else? Nothing else yet? Next meeting. All right. Trustee Nevares.
My comments here is that I've been using University Avenue now to travel to the NMSU, and it's a very smooth ride. It's very nice. I look forward to the completed project. I guess at some point, I think it was indicated the telecommunications facilities ordinance would be a schedule for this meeting. So at some point, maybe getting an update on where the status is on that draft is. So
Definitely. Just waiting on our attorneys on that one.
All right.
For their review, and I'll follow up with them. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Thank you. Trustee Johnson Burek. Trustee Cadena.
Just that I did, I was a trustee that attended the finance committee the finance meeting with Gloria and the mayor about the audit. So we got the scoop on that. See how that turns out.
Dun, dun, dun.
I
Nick?
have no.
Okay, I don't have very much, so don't worry, we won't be here all night. Okay. We did kick off the Square 9 programming. That Square 9 is the one that's going to be the invoicing automation, as well as the program that will be able to use AI to read our minutes as well as the agendas. We have had a volunteer who has been scanning diligently all of our years and years worth of meeting minutes and agendas. So that way, that's already going to be something that will be easily searchable. Once we get that fully implemented, it'll take about 3 to 4 months to get it fully going. We will have the ability to create a forward facing community facing portion of the searchable part of the meeting minutes and agendas, so that way residents can also search on that, which will be a great key there in doing the searching part there. I do want to note that early voting does start next week here, in particular here at the visitor center. That will be set up on October 18th and ready to roll in there during the normal business hours, and then there will be availability for voting on Saturdays as well. There is a forum with the League of Women Voters that is scheduled for next Tuesday, at the 21st at 6 p.m. at the community center. And that is for all of our trustee candidates. And there'll be a posting going out probably a little bit later this evening for that there as well online. And then we'll make sure to get those posted at our posting locations tomorrow. If you run into residents or speaking to residents, please make sure to help get the word out on that. That way we can have a great attendance and have that. It will be recorded and posted on our social media as well as the website, so that everybody has the opportunity to review that as well. So just to have that out there. And with that, unless there is objection, I will call this meeting as adjourned. So thank you all. 7:52. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you. One job.